Howdy! There's this motif in Deltarune that I've seen go far too unnoticed. It's most well known in Deltarune and Circus. But this isn't the only place it appears. Rousey, Sham, Jevil, Spamton, Queen, Birdly. This is a very strange combination of characters to share a motif. From a sweet, fluffy prince to a goofy chapter antagonist, to those who have been corrupted by forces beyond this world, what could they all share in common? Birdly in particular stands out. All the others are at least very important to the plot. Rousey is a team member and Prince of the Dark. Sham is known to have been close with Jevil in the past, and clearly knows way more than they let on about the Dark Worlds. Jevil and Spamton are both corrupted by Gaster. Queen is the main antagonist of Chapter 2. Birdly is just an annoying gamer teen. He doesn't even do that much in Chapter 2. He's just there for Queen to run away from, get turned into Werebirdly, and come in clutch for the Thrash Mech. What in the world does he have to do with any of these lore behemoths? I've got 4 theories on what this could be. Theory 1. They're related to the Weird Route. This would explain Spamton and Birdly, both of which suffer Snowgrave. It would also explain Queen, to an extent. Rousey has very little to do with it, though. He's off with Susie for the section of Noelle growing stronger. Sham and Jevil both have absolutely nothing to do with it. It's not this one. Theory 2. They know the Knight. The mysterious Knight, creator of the Dark Worlds, known to have influenced King and Queen. This one's a bit out of left field, but matches decently well. Queen, Jevil, and Sham have directly spoken of the Knight. Spamton tries to tell Chris something about the Knight before being interrupted. Can't say for sure whether Rousey does or not, but I won't be surprised either way. Its association with Rousey may instead be an association with the prophecy, since it plays in the legend. Birdly. We can't just focus on positive examples though, we gotta keep an eye out for the opposite. In this case, Spade King. He knows Knight too, but he doesn't have the motif, so not that either, sadly. Theory 3. They're a boss. Very similar. Queen, Birdly, Spamton, and Jevil are all bosses. Many people are suspicious of Rousey for various reasons, and Sham just knows a bit too much, so I would be shocked if eventually they were both bosses too. Perfect match! Except like last time, there are plenty of bosses that don't have the motif, completely obliterating this theory. Theory 4. They know they are but toys and items. Now this is promising. Queen knows. I don't know how she knows, probably the Knight. It's widely accepted that both Spamton and Jevil were driven insane by Gaster with this knowledge. Rousey it's a subject for a different video, but he knows too. Sham almost certainly learned it from Jevil, having said their worldview has gotten darker yet darker after speaking to him. King doesn't seem to know he's a toy, only that the fountain appeared. Birdly isn't a toy. He's a Lightner. In fact, he's the only Lightner on this list. How does he relate to this at all? It makes no sense. I am so sorry for what I'm about to do. Theory 5. Birdly is the Knight. Those Darkness have the motif because they know they're toys. Birdly has it because he turned the toys into them. Birdly created the Dark Worlds. This is one hell of a claim, and I do admit this is an absolutely stupid theory, but I have found a distressing number of things to back it up. And when I opened the script to write this section, Smart Race came on, so fate is on my side. He's in the right spots at the right time in both chapters. He's at school before Chris in Chapter 1, so could have created the spare classroom Dark World and bailed before it finished flooding the room. I think the more compelling case, however, is Chapter 2. If he didn't know about Dark Worlds and the computer room Dark World already existed when he and Noelle went there to study, I find it very hard to believe either of them would elect to jump in and drag the other with them. This would mean that the Dark World was formed while the other two were already in there, but again I find it unlikely they would both just stand there as some random person came in, stabbed the ground, flooded the room with negative photons, and left. I think Birdly did it. He found this new incredible power and wanted to share it with his closest friend. Just after they both set their books on the table, he said, "Watch this!" and stabbed to the ground. Darkness began flooding the room. Noelle didn't attempt to leave because she froze up and blacked out. When we arrive shortly after, this is the exact state we find her in. Birdley, in contrast, is super comfortable with this new world. He doesn't question it at all, eager to shape it to how he sees fit. In the Shadow Bulb puzzle in the palace, he directly states he wanted to make a new world where him and Noelle could always be number 1 and number 2, but then was tricked by Queen after getting too wrapped up in his Smartopia. I repeat, he literally tells you his goal is to create a new world. That is exactly what creating a Dark Fountain does. Come the end of Cyberworld, he's happy to create a new Dark World in Queen's Mansion. One issue with that, he is nowhere to be seen when Queen is telling us how Dark Worlds are made. We never have any reason to believe he's learned that info. He was out collecting new recruits when Queen was telling us about the creation of this world, yet he still somehow knows and is very quick to act on it at the first chance given. After we all learn about the Roaring, he apologizes to Noelle for causing her so much trouble, as if he feels responsible for this whole adventure. I wonder why he'd feel like it was his fault. There are a few anticipated questions. What about Snowgrave? Why would the main mystery just die? I argue that this is why, narratively, Chris creates the Chapter 3 Dark World. No matter what route the player chooses, the same Dark World we entered in Chapter 3 no matter if the knight is alive or not. The weird route is also a creepypasta broken version of the game, or makes itself look like one even if it is an intentionally designed route. The main mystery of the game just dying without anyone even knowing definitely adds to the "this is all wrong and shouldn't be happening" aspect of the weird route. Didn't Queen speak to the knight? She surprisingly never says this, only that she knows that the knight created the Dark World, and that she thought creating more was what the knight would want. Birdley agrees it was just a dream. Only after Noelle says that's what she thinks happened does he act like it isn't real. He's just playing along. After all, why should he take responsibility for it all if she doesn't think it really happened? Right? Right? That's my theory. We will admit it's rather extraordinary. Do I believe it? To not get a reputation of being crazy, I will say no. Thanks for tagging along.